3 bone-chilling secrets from a Mexican TV series you never knew existed. It was a night like no other, where shadows danced under the flickering streetlights and the air was thick with mystery. Rumors whispered of a Mexican TV series that held 3 secrets so chilling, so disturbing, it could send shivers down the bravest spine. Each secret wrapped in a shroud of darkness, threatening to break free and plunge unsuspecting viewers into an abyss of fear. First, the cast had vanished. That's right, entire seasons shot and edited, only to be abandoned, leaving behind a haunting silence. Those who worked on the show claimed that the locations felt alive, clamoring with barely audible voices, as if the very set were a living, breathing entity. Tales swirled among the crew about strange occurrences. Lights flickered. Cameras malfunctioned. And once, a lead actor was found petrified, unable to recall what had happened in the last hour of shooting. Then, there was the elusive artifact buried deep within the show's narrative. A cursed doll that seemed to watch, observe, and react to everyone who dared to come near it. Props would mysteriously end up in the wrong place, and troubled looks flashed across crew members' faces as they recounted the eerie occurrences surrounding it. Once, a producer dismissed it as a prank, until they found their own reflection staring back at them in that doll's eyes. It felt almost conspiratorial, like it was holding secrets of its own, secrets no human should ever know. And the plot twists? Oh, they were something else. Disturbing, unbelievable truths that made viewers question their own sanity. There was one episode that came with a warning, predicting a series of disasters in real life that eerily mirrored the storyline. Yet those disasters unfolded exactly as portrayed, leaving audiences torn between fear and disbelief. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the secrets unraveled, a chilling realization gripped the viewers. Were these tales just figments of imagination, or was there something profoundly wrong lurking beneath the glossy surface of entertainment? The next episode promised to divulge even darker mysteries, opening the door to questions that demanded answers. What lay in the shadows of that cursed set? And what would happen if those secrets returned to confront everyone involved? The anticipation hung in the air like electricity. As the next episode aired, viewers crowded around their screens, hearts racing as they clung to their seats. What would they discover? What truth would unravel next? The ominous opening credits rolled, accompanied by an unsettling melody that echoed through their homes. It was more than just a show. It was a dark invitation into the unknown. The camera swept across the abandoned set, eerily still. Dust motes floated in the beams of light, giving the illusion of life amid the decay. Tension crackled at the edges of every frame. Then, dark whispers surged through the actors' lines, an unsettling echo from the depths of the studio. "It never left," murmured one character, shivering as if the chill of a ghost had passed right through him. Viewers leaned closer, eyes wide. The cursed doll took center stage again, its gaze penetrating through the camera like an icy knife. Its unsettling grin deepened, as if relishing the terror it had caused. Flashbacks into its creation revealed the initial excitement of the puppet master, the designer, who meticulously crafted it. However, cuts revealed the shadow of their face, twisted in fear as they spoke in hushed tones about accidental movements of the doll when no humans were near. One crew member recalled how once, during a nighttime shoot, the doll's eyes seemed to trail their every move. "I could feel it watching." Whispers turned to gasps in living rooms across the country. Viewers weren't just watching anymore. They were living the horror. Then the episode's plot took a dark twist. A rare behind-the-scenes feature popped up, showing cast interviews. Shakily, a young actress recounted a harrowing experience. "I felt a hand on my shoulder, but no one was there." Her wide eyes spoke of genuine terror, nerves exposed like raw wounds. Suddenly, the screen pulsed to a hidden frame that wasn't supposed to be there. Gasps erupted again. An unmarked tape, the label smeared beyond recognition, was discovered in the archives. The producer had dismissed it, refusing to watch. But the audience's curiosity ignited a sinister urge. What was on that tape? What had the producer known that was too horrifying to reveal? As the episode progressed, strange phenomena began to seep into reality. A storm brewed outside as viewers reported flickering lights in their homes, followed by brief bouts of cold air that swept through their living spaces. Each unexplained chill echoed the crew members' tales. The screen switched to a live feed showing abandoned locations from the show. Dread pooled in the pit of the viewers' stomachs as shadows shifted in the windows, shadows that shouldn't be there. Final moments of the episode left everyone in furious suspense. A character, clutching the cursed doll, stared intently at the camera, their eyes wide with terror. You don't know what will happen next. If you think it ends here, you're wrong. Then, the feed cut to static, and silence engulfed the viewers, hearts pounding, breaths held tight. Gripped by fear and curiosity, they wondered what was that tape hiding? The weight of dread suffocated every room as they stared at their screens, waiting for answers that felt closer yet impossibly far away. What was about to erupt from the depths of that cursed set? The air crackled with anticipation, even days after the episode ended. As viewers waited for the next installment, shadows danced on their walls, each gust of wind feeling like a whisper urging them to listen closely. What horrors did that unmarked tape conceal? The question crawled under their skin. Late at night, when the world was dark and quiet, Sarah sat alone on her couch, the glow of her TV illuminating her worried face. She had become obsessed with the series, fueled by both fascination and dread. Unable to shake the feeling that she was entwined in something sinister, she scrolled through online forums, reading theories that straddled the line between mythology and madness. She gasped as she stumbled upon a post laden with bizarre claims and urban legend about a lost actor from the show who had vanished without a trace. "His spirit now haunts the set," one comment read. "They say if you listen close enough, he cries for help." Across town, in her living room, Rebecca clutched her phone tightly. She had experienced strange occurrences since watching the last episode. Glasses tilted on tables, doors creaked open on their own. She couldn't shake the chilling feeling that something was lurking just beyond her sight. A new sense of dread filled her as she read about the actor, a warning not to watch the show alone. She felt a twinge of guilt as she realized she'd been catching up on episodes when her husband was away, moving through episodes like she was shedding layers. She yearned to tell him about the nightmares crowding her thoughts, the feeling that they were not truly alone anymore. Meanwhile, Jason sat in his dimly lit bar. He poured himself a drink, flipping through comments on social media. "The tape reveals the truth. Watch at your own risk," someone said. His heart raced. He'd seen it all, the unexplained flickers, the shivers that coursed through him whenever the cursed doll graced the screen. The excitement grew into an insatiable urge. He had to find the tape. Over the next few days, the atmosphere thickened. Viewers reported odd messages in their email, appearing out of the blue, muffled sounds and static-laden snippets claiming to share secrets from the show. "Help us," one email read, chilling him to the core. He shivered at the thought of what remained buried in the network's archives. News spread like wildfire. Fans organized viewing parties to dissect the meaning behind everything. But curiosity morphed into fear as more viewers reported strange occurrences: puppets missing from shelves, dolls turning their heads, shadows that slinked behind them unnoticed. The barrier between reality and the show crumbled. Each episode opened a door to an escalating terror. In a last-ditch effort, Sarah gathered her friends for an all-night binge. Their faces lit by the flickering screen, they struggled collectively not to scream at the living portraits depicted before them. Each scene twisted their perception of fear, leading to jumps in their seats, heart-pounding dread, and a realization something was wrong. Their laughter faded into silence as the familiar phrase echoed in their minds, "You don't know what will happen next." Just then, the power flickered, plunging them into darkness. Panic surged through the group. "Guys, is it just me, or does it feel colder?" whispered one friend. The tension hung thick, momentarily paralyzing them, until a loud crash broke the stillness from the back room. What was that? Sarah's heart raced as she exchanged terrified glances with her friends. They dared not to move, each breath heavy, terror ballooning within them. A muffled sound followed, a low voice barely breaking through the silence. "Help me!" The unmarked tape now felt like a siren's call. What had it unleashed? Who were they truly inviting in? And for the first time, it became clear. Secrets were buried deeper than they imagined. What awaited them just beyond that door? The silence in the room was deafening, punctuated only by the residual echo of the crash. Sarah's heart pounded like a drum in her chest, each beat urging her to run yet binding her to the spot. The sliver of darkness that enveloped them felt alive, pulsing with an eerie hunger. "Maybe it's just a cat," one friend finally whispered, though her voice wavered, betraying her assurance. Sarah's breath was shallow. She couldn't let herself believe that anything benign lurked in the darkness. "Or something worse," Sarah murmured, thinking of the chilling words on the forums. Her fingers trembled as she reached for her phone, desperate for light, the glow revealing anxious faces, eyes wide, fear palpable. With a flick of her wrist, the screen came alive. Shadows retreated momentarily as John, one of her friends, leaned closer. "You saw the email, right?" It said something about helping them. Before she could respond, the low voice echoed again, clearer this time, tinged with a sense of urgency. "Help me!" Frigid fingers of dread crawled up Sarah's spine. "We need to check what it is," she said, trying to sound brave. "Together." The group hesitated, exchanging wary glances, but the weight of the voice compelled them. With a collective nod, they made their way toward the back room, the once comforting familiarity of Sarah's home twisted into a foreboding maze. Each step felt like stepping deeper into unknown territory, their shadows stretching alongside them, impartial witnesses to their descent. The door stood ajar, creaking lightly as the air oozed tension. Cautiously, Sarah pushed it open and squinted into the darkness. "Hello?" John called out, voice trembling. He stepped inside, the phone's light spilling into the space, illuminating broken furniture and a jumbled collection of forgotten items that lay strewn across the floor. A sudden thud redirected their focus. Sarah's heart lurched as an old, dingy doll missing an eye tumbled from atop a shelf. It rolled towards them, staring with that one hollow gaze as if it had watched all along, waiting for this moment. "Okay, that's creepy," Sarah blurted, fighting the chill that crept over her skin. Behind her, her friends gasped, uncertainty cracking through their bravado. But then, right at the edge of the light, something stirred. The shadows displaced, revealing a figure cloaked in darkness, the fall of fabric sending shivers down Sarah's spine. "Help me!" it called again, this time unmistakably human. The friends huddled closer, hearts racing. "Is this a prank?" one whispered, eyes darting around the unfamiliar space. But Sarah felt it, an instinctual pull that neither fear nor doubt could sever. "Can you hear us?" Sarah found herself demanding, light trembling in her hands. Yet the transparency of the figure did not waver. It shifted silently, beckoning toward the door with an outstretched arm. "I think he wants us to follow," Rebecca stuttered, step one back instinctively. But is it dangerous? A tumult of thoughts whipped through Sarah's mind. A plea for help, or an invitation to their doom? Was this a chance to unveil the secrets buried behind the enigmatic urban legend? She hesitated, torn between fear and curiosity, her instinct reaching deeper than mere terror. "Let us go," Sarah finally whispered, surprising even herself. There was no time for second-guessing, not anymore. One by one, they stepped inside the shrine of fear, the line blurring between reality and that malevolent universe they had so eagerly sought to unearth. What awaited them in that unfamiliar darkness? The echoes of a story long hidden, or a perilous truth they weren't prepared to confront. And as they crossed the threshold, the door creaked shut behind them, sealing their fate. In that moment, they understood the show was more than entertainment. It was a web, and they were caught tightly within its strands. What secrets would they uncover, and would they survive the truth once revealed? The air grew thick with dread as they followed the figure deeper into the room, the phone's light flickering like a dying ember. Each step echoed unnervingly against the walls, amplifying their fears. The darkness pulled at them, clammy and invasive, wrapping around their limbs like tendrils eager to ensnare. "Do you think it's really someone? I mean, do people actually fade away like that?" John's voice shook, his disbelief evident in the falter of his words. It was an absurd notion, yet the figure swayed just ahead, its outline more solid now, draped in shadows that clung as stubbornly as their rising apprehension. "Maybe if we get closer," Sarah ventured, her curiosity outweighing her fear. What if this was real? The thought ignited a spark within her, urging her to unravel whatever mystery lay before them. As they advanced, the figure turned, revealing a face. A pallid visage, almost skeletal, eyes hollow but sparkling with desperation. "Please help me," it pleaded again, voice trembling. "Who are you?" Sarah demanded, the strength of her challenge surprising herself. She wanted to assert control over the situation, even as her heart threatened to betray her resolve. The figure paused, as if weighing its response. "They won't let me go, they never let us go." The words dripped with a sorrow that seeped into the air, turning their curiosity into chilling realization. It spoke as if it was one of many, lost to whatever entity was lurking in this suffocating darkness. "Let us get out of here," Rebecca whispered, voice barely a thread. They were all thinking it, the dark pulling them like a tide toward safety. But Sarah, ever the bravest, took another step forward. "Please." "What do we need to do?" "Follow me." The figure twisted slightly, leading them through the darkness. An unseen force prickled at the edges of Sarah's consciousness, warning her of the danger that lingered in the corners. But her instincts pushed her on. With every step, the outline of the room became clearer. Memories of its forgotten past crawled back into the light. Old photographs lined the walls, faces smiling in sepia tones, unaware of the fate that would soon envelop them. Sarah stopped dead in her tracks, eyes falling on a picture that made her stomach twist. A group of people, vibrant and alive, but within the shadows, figures stood, blurred and indistinct, faces contorted in silent screams. What is this?" John said, backing away, his face pale. The air felt electric, the shadows pulsating with an energy that made the hairs on their arms stand. "It's all connected," the figure urged, urging them forward with a wave of its skeletal hand. "You're in danger. You have to help before it takes you too." "Help who? What do you want?" Sarah probed, urgency lacing her tone. Her heart thumped like a jackhammer, fear spiraling, but beneath it lay unshakable resolve. "Find the truth," it whispered urgently. "Unravel the web, or be trapped forever." Without warning, the lights flickered, plunging them into chaos. The figure drew back, swallowed by darkness, the palpable dread intensifying. Shadows closed in around them, whispering secrets that tugged at the edges of their sanity. As confusion enveloped them, Sarah felt her grip slipping. In her gut, She knew that whatever truth lay hidden here was not something they were ready to discover. They were standing on the precipice of darkness, and to step back now could mean losing everything. "Stay close," Sarah shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. They needed a plan. They couldn't quail under the shadow's watchful gaze. But as they turned to regroup, something moved behind them, quick, silent, like a whisper of wind but far more sinister. And there it was, the chilling realization that nothing was as it seemed. Not the figure, not the threats hanging in the air. What had they stumbled into? Questions buzzed like angry flies in their heads. The search for answers had only just begun. What now? Rebecca breathed, only half stating her fear. But before Sarah could reply, a low growl vibrated through the air, a guttural noise resonating from the depths of the room. The shadows seemed to throb, an ancient pulse that beckoned them further into the abyss. The true horror awaited them. They had crossed the line between exploring curiosity and awakening something that should have remained cloaked in the dark. And just like that, Sarah realized it was only the beginning of their nightmare. Would they be brave enough to face what lay ahead, or would they become the next whispers in the shadows? The growl morphed into a dissonant symphony of shrieks, weaving through the shadows like a venomous serpent. Panic bubbled in Sarah's chest, clawing at her insides. The hair on the back of her neck prickled. Every instinct screamed at her to run. But the faces in those old photographs echoed in her thoughts. They couldn't turn back now. "Did you hear that?" John gasped, pressing against the wall as if trying to merge with the crumbling plaster. His eyes were wild, pupils dilated in terror. "What the hell is going on here?" "It's not just shadows," Rebecca whispered, clutching Sarah's arm as if it were a lifeline. "There's something else. We have to move." "Wait!" Sarah shouted, desperation infecting her voice. They had come this far. She couldn't allow fear to dictate their next move. It was time to uncover what they had awakened. "What do we do?" Before the words had fully escaped her lips, the temperature dropped dramatically. A thick fog began to seep from the corners of the room, snaking towards them with an almost sentient hunger. It coiled around their ankles, pulling them toward the source of the disturbance. The growls escalated into a chorus of tortured wails, each note twisting deeper into their minds. "Run!" John barked, but as they turned to escape, the fog solidified, forming a wall, a barrier between them and the exit. It was like a living thing, pulsing, breathing, and with each breath, it exhaled what seemed to be the lost souls trapped within its grasp. "We can't stay here." Sarah's voice cracked, but her resolve hardened. She backed toward the agonizing screams, seeking clarity in the chaos. "We need to find the truth, remember?" The shadows shivered, as if acknowledging her determination. Suddenly, a glimmer of light pierced through the fog, illuminating a staircase leading upwards, almost begging them to ascend. An unearthly pulse seemed to radiate from it, heartbeats syncing with their own frantic rhythms. "That way." She pointed, adrenaline igniting their movement. With no time to question, they raced toward the staircase, the growls shifting into a cacophony of shrieks behind them, an angry gust of fury pressing against their backs. As they climbed, the fog swirled and twisted below, a dark ocean churning with regret. With each step, Sarah felt the weight of eyes upon them, phantom gazes lingering on their every move. As John reached for Rebecca's hand, the specters of the room whispered an understanding, a dreadful promise that if they fell, they might join those haunting shadows. The top of the staircase flared with brilliant light, spilling over the threshold into an expansive room filled with dusty books and neglected artifacts. The air felt different here, charged with potential yet thick with despair. Ghostly chandeliers hung from the ceiling, illuminating the ravenous darkness that lurked in every corner. "Look!" Sarah pointed at a large trunk in the center of the room. "Maybe the answers we need are inside." For once, I don't think I want to open it, John muttered, hesitating. No, we have to see, she urged, her heart racing. The shadows below might be waiting, but fear couldn't rule her decisions not any longer. She approached the trunk, her breath mingling with the thick air, the sense of being watched overwhelming yet strangely motivating. Sarah knelt beside it, fingers trembling as she unlatched the old clasp. Just as she pulled it open, a sudden chill raced through the room, whipping around them like a tempest. The shrieks below swelled to a crescendo, as if the shadows were pleading, trying to pull them back. As the trunk creaked open, she felt a surge of unease, like standing at the edge of an unfathomable abyss. Something inside felt alive, hungry. And then it happened. Horrific faces surged through the lid like rays spilling from a bag. Their ghostly figures twisted in anguish, mouths screaming silent cries, some reaching out to her as if trying to escape. "Sarah!" Rebecca cried, but her voice was distorted by the chaos, almost swallowed by the tortured souls emerging from the void. What had they unleashed? Heart racing, Sarah pushed deeper into the trunk, finding a small object at its bottom, a locket, glinting in the newfound light. It pulsed in her hand like a heartbeat, filled with promise and peril. "Look at this," she breathed, entranced. But before she could grasp the weight of the moment, everything around them trembled as if the very foundation was about to crack. They had found a piece of the truth, but at what cost? In that moment of grasping for understanding, the shadows below surged upward, reaching hungrily for the warmth of their souls. Would the locket's truth be their salvation, or would it only lead them deeper into the darkness? As the shadows converged on them, Sarah could only hope they had the courage to face whatever was unleashed. It was just the beginning, and the echoes of the past were closing in fast. What lesser horrors awaited in the wake of the startling revelation? The locket felt heavier in Sarah's palm, a tangible connection to the despair swirling around them. Pulsing faintly, it seemed both alive and aware, as if it held secrets far older than the shadows themselves. She could feel John's and Rebecca's frantic breaths behind her, the terror palpable in the air thick with anguish. "I don't think we should be here, Sarah," John shouted, his voice rising above the collective wails enveloping them. "This place, it's not just haunted, it's alive." "Wait. Just a sec," Sarah said, her voice a whisper, as her heart raced with a combination of dread and curiosity. She squinted at the locket, which opened with a gentle push. Within it was a faded photograph, the image worn but recognizable. The faces stared back at them, eyes glistening with grief. It was a family, a mother and father with 2 children smiling, frozen in time. "Do you recognize them?" Rebecca asked, her brows knitted, scanning the faces anxiously. "No, but look closely." Sarah pointed at a detail, a dark symbol visible in the corner. "That's the same one as in the photographs down in the hallway, the ones we thought were innocent." Rebecca's gasp echoed in the heavy room, as they all put the pieces together. These people, they were trapped here, just like us. But why? Suddenly, the shadows intensified, coiling around the edges of their vision, as if trying to draw nearer. The eerie sounds crescendoed, a blistering storm of cries and howls, clawing at the integrity of the room. Energized by adrenaline, John pushed closer to Sarah, peering into the locket. "Maybe it's a key. If we find out what happened to them, we can set them free. What if it's a trap? What if we're just like them, forever tied to this place?" Rebecca shouted, her eyes wide with anguish, glancing at the billowing darkness that threatened to devour them. "Or maybe it's our only chance to break the curse," Sarah insisted, resolve spurring her on. "Those people deserve to be at peace. We owe it to them." A deep, deafening rumble filled the air. Their surroundings trembled, as if the building itself were quaking in response to their intentions. The dim light flickered, illuminating strange symbols emerging on the walls that pulsed in sync with the locket's heartbeat. They were ritualistic, dark truths locked in an ancient cycle of pain and sorrow. Focus, everyone. We need to figure this out but before she could finish, the room twisted, shadows rushing to engulf them. Reaching for the locket, Sarah felt a force like ice grip her heart as dark fingers brushed her shoulder. It sent shivers seizing through her body, leaving her gasping. She whipped around, nearly colliding with Rebecca, whose eyes were now glossy and wild. "What do we do?" John asked, panic coursing through his voice. "Find something linked to this family," Sarah commanded, glancing at the scattered artifacts in the room, a moment hanging there, heavy with potential and danger. With desperation simmering beneath her skin, she pointed to an ornate mirror at the far end. Maybe that, but before she could complete the thought, the shadows surged, a wall of darkness closing off their escape, shrieks morphing into a single bone-chilling wail. The air thickened, compressing around them like a vice, suffocating their resolve with dread. "Sarah!" Rebecca screamed, her voice breaking as phantasmal forms began to rise from the depths of the trunk. The ghostly faces twisted, melding into one another, their relentless cries a haunting echo of despair. "I'm not leaving without knowing!" Sarah shouted over the din. Fueled by a fire of defiance she couldn't quite explain. She turned back to the locket, trying to extract more information as shadows lunged at her, their cold grasp nearing. In that moment, time felt suspended, the tension thick, crackling with energy. The locket warmed, glowing fiercely as if recognizing the moment of desperation. With a last gasp of courage, she yelled, "Show us your truth!" The locket shattered open, unleashing a blinding light that sliced through the darkness. Everything around them erupted into chaos, figures lunging, light clashing with shadows. Both terror and hope collided in a breathtaking dance, threatening to obliterate all, now racing against time and despair. Sarah's heart hammered as the flickering light illuminated a shadowy figure at the edge of the room. Its eyes glowed with untold stories, were they friend or foe. Fear gripped her once more, but the locket pulsed fiercely in her hand. Was it a protector, or the very force that would lead them to their doom? With everything on the line, they had become players in a game much older than they understood. What awaited them in the dead center of that turmoil? The answer might define their fates forever. The blinding light erupted like a supernova, illuminating the shadows that had held them captive for so long. Sarah shielded her eyes, feeling the heat radiate off the locket in her hand. The darkness shrieked, retreating momentarily, a terrified animal scurrying away from the unexpected brilliance. Her heart pounded like a war drum, urging her to step forward. "Can you see it?" John shouted, squinting against the glare as he clutched Rebecca's arm. She nodded, her jaw set in determination, but fear flickered in her eyes. In the chaos, the once solid forms of shadow began to melt and warp, swirling into something different. A silhouette took shape at the edge of the light. "Don't lose that light," Sarah shouted, feeling the pull of the darkness threatening to re-emerge. The figure before them solidified, revealing an older woman, her dress tattered and ethereal, hair cascading like a waterfall of night. The woman's face was sorrowful yet radiated warmth, offering an unsettling contrast to the terror surrounding them. Inviting, yet ominous. "Why have you come?" The woman's voice was soothing, but edged with a warning. "Who are you?" Rebecca urged, stepping closer despite the rippling shadows gathering again behind her. "I was once like you, trapped in sadness and despair. I guarded the locket, waiting for the right souls to free us," the woman replied, her voice heavy with nostalgia. "You seek the truth, but are you ready for what you may find? Whatever it is, we have to know," John exclaimed, eyes narrowing on the figure. "We don't have a choice," Sarah added, holding the locket higher, its glow pulsating with increasing fervor. "The truth is forged in the pain of the past," the woman intoned, sadness pooling in her eyes. "To save the lost, you must confront your own darkness first." At that moment, a frigid wind rushed through the room, forcing Sarah to shiver. Suddenly, the air thickened, and an anguished scream echoed around them, emerging from the walls, which seemed to pulse like a living thing. The woman raised her hands, and images began swirling in the light, horrifying scenes of grief, betrayal, and loss. A young girl's laughter shattered into sobs. A man reaching, desperate, only to be swallowed by shadows. Each flicker cut through Sarah, ricocheting off the walls of her heart. "Stop!" she cried, clutching the locket as if it were her lifeline. "We're not here to relive this. We want to help." "That's what binds you to this place," the woman whispered, the weight of her words sending a chill deep into Sarah's bones. "Your own grief. You must confront it to release us and yourself." Rebecca gasped, wrestling her own feelings of loss. John's expression darkened, memories flashing in his eyes. "No, we can't," John stammered. "We can't face that," but the truth began to seep into the very fabric of the room. Tendrils of memories wrapped around them, pulling them down into a dark pit of their own making. Sarah could feel it clawing at her heart, the oppressive weight of every loss she had buried. "No!" she shouted, feeling the locket vibrate fiercely in response. "Not like this. We're stronger together." The light flickered as she grasped the locket with both hands, channeling everything she had, her fear, her sadness, and her will to fight back at the shadows that threatened to envelop them. "Together," she cried. "Show us the way. We will not be prisoners of grief." The shadows recoiled, releasing a hideous wail as Sarah's words took root, the light of the locket slicing like a beacon through their turmoil. In that moment of unity, she felt the stirrings of hope. But the looming darkness still hung ominously, and the woman's eyes darkened with an unsettling truth. "You may break the chains, but will the truth be worth the price?" The warning hung in the air, chilling Sarah to her core. They stood on the precipice of knowledge, but what awaited them on the other side? With adrenaline surging, Sarah fought to maintain her grip on the locket. The answers they seek lay buried under layers of pain, and only by unearthing those truths could they find their freedom. But would the revelations fracture their bonds or set them free? As the shadows lunged once more, the room shuddered violently, teetering between light and darkness. They had a choice to make, but would they be strong enough to face the consequences? Just as they braced for the onslaught, Sarah screamed, "I won't lose anyone else." The walls trembled, and in the midst of it all, her determination burned brighter. Would that illumination become their salvation, or would the darkness snuff it out forever? The scream hung in the air, vibrating as if the room itself trembled with Sarah's desperation. The shadows recoiled further, as if her words had cut through some ancient binding. Instinctively, John and Rebecca leaned closer together, their brows knitted in shared fear. Time slowed. Each second stretched dangerously, echoing with the memories clawing at the edges of their minds. With the locket growing warmer in her hands, Sarah felt an electric surge. "What do we do?" she breathlessly asked, her heart racing. "How do we confront it?" The old woman, still a beacon amidst the chaos, gestured with a tender, assertive nod. "Face the pain. Speak the truth of what you've lost. Each word is a key unlocking the darkness within you." John sank to his knees, eyes wide as distant memories flooded back, devastating and raw. "I can't, no. It's too much." He clutched his head, as if trying to hold the memories at bay. "John, fight it. Don't let the darkness take you," Rebecca cried, her own inner struggle evident. "Think of your brother," Sarah urged, feeling the weight of her own grief tugging at her heart. The shadows pulsed, seeming to breathe with their anguish. "What happened to him? We need your strength." The mention of his brother's name snatched John's attention. His eyes shimmered with unshed tears. He was taken from me. I couldn't save him." Rebecca knelt next to him, determination flashing in her eyes. "We can save the others," We have to confront it together. Sarah's grip on the locket tightened as glimmers of hope danced at the edges of her heart. You're not alone. We will face it together. The room darkened further, the shadows swirling ominously as if sensing their newfound resolve. Yet the locket surged with energy, illuminating answers in the oppressive gloom. "Speak, John!" Sarah shouted, pushing him toward the echoing darkness. "You have the strength. Let it out!" Trembling, John whispered, "I didn't go looking for him. I should have protected him." The words hung heavy before him, but as they passed his lips, the shadows recoiled, twisting away as if stung. One by one, memories forced their way to the surface. "I waited in the darkness, thinking he'd come back," he wept openly now, and the room felt lighter with his release. The woman smiled tenderly, her presence radiating warmth. "Remember, it's in acceptance that healing begins." Encouraged, Rebecca took a breath, grounding herself. "I lost my father too to something I didn't understand. I need him back." The locket pulsed again, bathing the room in a soft glow that melted away the jagged edges of fear, illuminating Rebecca's face, heartbroken yet resolute. Sarah, feeling the crescendo of intensity around her, joined hands with them. "My mother, she didn't mean to leave. We all carry this weight of grief. Let us share it. We're stronger." As if summoned by their collective strength, the shadows convulsed violently, their wails merging into a cacophony of sorrow, urgency, and lost hopes. The old woman stepped closer. "This is just the beginning, dear ones. Your darkness will reveal great truths, but are you prepared for what you will uncover?" The question hung thick in the air like a storm cloud, electric tension buzzing between them. Would their confessions unravel the shadows, or would they awaken something darker lurking below? Just then, the ground rumbled ominously as cracks spiderwebbed across the floor. The walls echoed their struggle. Was this an omen or a chance to break free? "Together!" Sarah shouted once more, her voice resonating with fierce resolve. "We can't retreat into the past. We will fight." But as the shadows recoiled, an unseen force shifted the air, hungry and chaotic. In that moment, a figure began to materialize in the swirling depths, a face they all recognized but could scarcely believe. Fear gripped Sarah's heart as reality twisted and surged. Who had emerged from that darkness? What revealed truths would they face next? The light from the locket pulsed strongly, driving back the shadows just enough for them to see what appeared before them. It was a tall, gaunt figure, its features obscured by the murky darkness that enveloped it. As it stepped into the faint glow, it became clear the loving face of John's long-lost brother. "David?" John's voice trembled, hope and disbelief warring within him. "Help me," the specter whispered, each word a haunting echo wrapped in despair. The room shuddered with his presence, shadows writhing as if in rage. "We can help you," John stated firmly, desperation overriding his fear. "We know what happened, and you're free now." No, David's voice cracked, anguish spilling forth. "You don't understand. I'm a part of this place. I can't leave. I've tried." The old woman's gaze softened, as if she recognized the struggle within David's tortured soul. "You cannot set him free unless you confront what keeps him tethered," she said, looking closely into Sarah's and Rebecca's eyes. "The truth of your own grief must be faced." "Then let's do it," John shouted, stepping forward, determination etched across his face. "We can't let the darkness win. We will confront it together." The shadows stirred violently around them, swirling faster, the air crackling with a mix of hope and fear. David's eyes flickered with a mix of sorrow and gratitude, a flicker of life in the hollow depths. "You have to face the truth." "We all do," he urged, pleading with the trio. Sarah felt heat radiating from the locket, intensifying as their resolve strengthened. "We need to remember what happened. We need to face it head on. For you and for us," she declared. "Together," Rebecca echoed, their voices harmonizing as they clasped hands, forming an unbreakable bond. "We will not shy away from our pain." With a deep breath, John spoke. "David, I failed you. I didn't protect you. I searched and searched but never found you. I'm sorry." The shadows recoiled again, their anguish dissipating as John poured every ounce of emotion into his words. The truth felt raw but liberating, carving away the bindings of guilt that chained his brother. "One by one, voice your pain," the woman urged, her tone a melodic guide in the tempest of emotion swirling around them. "Because pain can be a beacon," Sarah added, her voice steady as she anchored the trio. "Let it guide you." As the shadows grew wilder, Rebecca took her turn. "My father, I didn't understand why he left. I thought I drove him away. I was wrong." Her tears fell like rain, washing away fetters of resentment and shame. The intensity deepened, drawing David closer. "You have to forgive yourselves," he cried, and as he did, the darkness began to crack. "I lost my mother. I couldn't save her. And the weight of it has haunted me every day." Sarah's voice rose, choking on the raw truth. With each confession that broke like a wave against the sands of doubt, the shadows retreated further back, revealing slivers of light that danced with possibility. David breathed, his expression softening. Suddenly, warmth enveloped them all, the shadows writhing in anger, desperate to reclaim what it had lost. But the locket grew brighter, radiating an energy that pushed against the gathering storm of darkness. "See it," the old woman urged again, her voice imbued with an unyielding promise. "What you face today will set you free." The room tilted dangerously, but Sarah stood firm. "Together. Together." With one final collective breath, they each voiced their gratitude for the lost loved ones, complete with apologies. The shadows quivered, shimmering as they began to dissolve. In the end, the guilt, the sorrow, the fear transformed into an effervescent glow. The trembling began to steady, while the losses they fought against embraced the light that had been long hidden. And then silence fell. The shadows evaporated, revealing a room bathed in an ethereal glow. The feeling of relief washed across them, so profound it almost felt surreal. "Thank you," David nodded, his face softening into a serene smile. "You freed us." As his form began to flicker against the light, John reached out, longing in his eyes. "David, don't go. I won't remember me, brother. Live for those still here." And with that, he vanished, leaving nothing but warmth and a lingering whisper of love. Suddenly, the old woman turned to them, her image beginning to fade as well. "You learned well. Goodbye, brave souls." And just like that, she too melted into the light. Alone in the room, the trio stood together in the profound silence, a new understanding knitting their spirits tightly. They defaced the darkness, their burdens lifted, a healing that would now pave the way for their lives ahead. In that moment of quiet, Sarah held the locket to her chest, knowing it was just a key to their freedom, but a reminder, a bond unbroken by death, grief transformed into hope. Outside, light flooded the world, colors gleaming brighter than they had ever imagined. They stepped into the sun, alive, and ready to embrace the path that awaited them, the scars now a testament of survival, pain transformed into power. "Together," Sarah said simply, stitching the bond anew, ensuring that they would carry the weight of their stories, but also their love forward into the world. As they walked away from the shadowed past into their bright future, one thing remained clear: they were free. Now, if you love this chilling resolution and want more exclusive stories like this, you need to subscribe to the channel immediately. Don't miss out on our future tales. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm, and let the world know you're part of this awesome community. And we're dying to hear your thoughts. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. It truly makes our hearts race. Lastly, Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. Let's spread the word together. Don't you dare wait even one more second.